JRPGs are on the rise, and with AA games like Expedition 33 setting the bar, anything is possible at this point with which games will end up surprising us and which games will end up disappointing us. Still, these 10 JRPGs that I'm about to talk about all have a lot of hype surrounding them to the point that I honestly can't stop thinking about each of them. What's even crazier is that some of them haven't even officially been revealed or announced yet, but we know that each of them are in development to some extent, even if the studio hasn't told us anything yet. So in this episode of Fantasy Kingdom, I'm shining a light on the biggest upcoming JRPGs that are in development as we speak that I'm extremely excited for. But anyways, with that out of the way, my name is Ruben with Fantasy Kingdom, and this is the top 10 biggest upcoming JRPGs that I'm most excited for. Let's get it. Number 10, Monolith Soft's new JRPG. Not much is really known about the JRPG that Monolith Soft appears to be working on, but based on their relationship with Nintendo, we can assume that it's probably going to be a new game exclusive to the Switch too. With that in mind, fans have speculated that this game will release sometime next year with a reveal sometime in 2025. As far as what we know about this project, as I already said, there's not really a lot of information out there. But this is Monolith that we're talking about, the creators of the Xenoblade Chronicles series. So even with a little bit of information that we do have, I'm definitely looking forward to this title. Anyway, what we know about this project is that it's being labeled as an action JRPG and it's under the working title Project Legacy. Also, this screenshot depicts a female character in a medieval-like outfit with a traditional sword, which means that we could be seeing a new IP instead of a new entry in the Xenoblade Chronicles series. The last thing to note is that rumors are saying that gameplay will feel vastly different from what we are used to with Monolith Soft, and that this new game will be a very ambitious title for the studio. But honestly, that's about all we got about this game, guys. Again, if it was any other studio, my excitement level would probably be a lot lower and it wouldn't have made this list. But being that this is Monolith Soft that we're talking about, I figured that at the very least, this deserved a mention. Number 9, Persona 4 Revival. Courtesy of the Xbox Showcase last week, we now have our first look at the remake of Persona 4, Persona 4 Revival, and it looks, well, honestly, there wasn't really much shown off, now was there? That said, after what we got from Persona 3 Reload, I have full faith in what this final game will look like, and I'm extremely excited for it. While Persona 3 is still my favorite game of the franchise, most fans would argue that the 4th game is the best in the series, while the 5th game is the game that really put Alice on the map. The complex characters of Persona 4, complete with the innovative combat system and Alice's JRPGs, Persona 4 is a masterpiece in its own right. Now, when you combine the story and music from the original game, but add quality of life improvements, improved graphics, updated voice actors and dialogue, and much more, it's hard to imagine Persona 4 Revival failing to impress us in any capacity. Still, I would have rather seen an official reveal for Persona 6 before this, but hey, I'll take what I can get for now. Number 8, Penny Blood. Now at the time of recording this, we haven't received any updates on Penny Blood or the other game that this studio is working on, Arm Fantasia. Actually, if you really wanted to, by the way, you could actually put that game alongside Penny Blood on this list because I'm very excited for both of these games. Anyway, both of these games are being developed by an indie studio that has recently ran into some lawsuits that appear to be causing some delays to the release of both games. Each of these games are heavily inspired by dead JRPG franchises, with Arm Fantasia clearly inspired by Wild Arms and Penny Blood clearly inspired by Shadow Hearts. The latter is the game that interests me the most though, as there's currently a gap in the genre for a horror JRPG ever since both Parasite Eve and Shadow Hearts died eventually. Penny Blood appears to take a lot of inspiration from Shadow Hearts, from its dark and gothic set pieces to the horror focus on enemy types in the game. And since it's very unlikely that we'll ever see a new Shadow Hearts game, Penny Blood looks like it'll be the closest thing that we'll ever get to that. That is if it eventually releases, which I assume it will, as it reach all of those stretch goals it set out to get in its Kickstarter campaign, so fingers crossed. Number 7, Lost Soul Aside. After the major success of Expedition 33 earlier this year, which by the way is in the running for my game of the year as of right now, my eyes are now set on another ambitious AA game inspired by action JRPGs, Lost Soul Aside. Every time I see this game shown off, I get more and more excited about it. The story appears to be a more mature and emotional story compared to a lot of JRPGs out there. And the gameplay reminds me of Final Fantasy XV's action-focused mechanics, which, by the way, I do know that some of you guys will probably be turned off about that. But one of the things I really appreciated about Final Fantasy XV was the gameplay, as it reminded me of gameplay mechanics from other JRPGs that I love, like Kingdom Hearts 2. Anyway, Lost Soul Aside looks like a really ambitious title with an iconic soundtrack, beautiful landscapes, a captivating story, and an addicting combat system with challenging boss fights. Actually, it literally reminds me of Expedition 33, but as an action JRPG instead of the turn-based combat that we got in that game. While I highly doubt that this game will be able to compete with what Expedition 33 did for me earlier this year, I'm extremely excited about this game and I hope it delivers on everything that it's been showcasing so far. Just please don't be Forsaken 2.0. I've already seen people comparing it to that game, and while I definitely don't think it deserves that sort of criticism, I can't get that thought out of my mind now. Number 6, Persona 6. I teased this earlier, but Persona 6 is a game that I'm extremely excited for. While not officially revealed by Alice yet, leaks and rumors around this game have already been circulating, and it's only a matter of time before Persona 6 gets revealed to the world. Actually, I'm betting that Alice wants to release Persona 4 Revival sometime this year so that they could try to get Persona 6 out in time for the 30th anniversary next year. Meaning that we could probably expect a reveal of this game at the next Xbox Showcase, or even more likely, the Game Awards in December. Anyway, we don't officially know much about this game, but the leaks and rumors suggest that the color palette of this game will be green, and that this time it will feature two main protagonists, a male and female character, which is the first for the series. Regardless of what this game turns out to be like though, I find it hard that I don't immediately fall in love with Persona 6 the moment I get my hands on it. I mean, the last three mainline entries, Persona 3, 4, and 5, have all been some of my favorite JRPGs of all time, so I would be shocked if Persona 6 didn't follow in their footsteps. Number 5, Tides of Annihilation. Okay, so I might sound like a broken record, but Tides of Annihilation feels very similar to the same sort of vibe that Lost Soul Aside is going for. The big difference here though is that this game also feels like it's combining other genres to make it stand out a little more than your typical action JRPG. For example, the combat seems very similar to a Soulsborne game, but focusing on some sort of knife feature that allows you to summon these guys to do all sorts of different abilities during combat. Also, this game gives off major Expedition 33 vibes as well, maybe even more so than Lost Soul Aside, courtesy of the setting being in some sort of post-apocalyptic version of London. You know, London, Paris, you get it. Anyways, we see many things in the gameplay trailer, from platforming to a Soulsborne combat system to massive knights and giants that are both visually impressive and terrifying at the same time. This game looks fucking amazing, and I can't wait to see more on it, as I feel like they have so much more to show off. Number 4, Dragon Quest XII, The Flames of Fate. Dragon Quest XII was officially announced about 4 years ago at the 35th anniversary event, but since then it's been relatively quiet. Perhaps it has something to do with the tons of other IPs that Square Enix has teams working on, or it might have something to do with the famous lead character animator, Akira Toriyama's tragic death, but for some reason or another, updates on the next installment of the Dragon Quest franchise have been very slow. Here's what we do know about the game though. First off, it's been confirmed that Dragon Quest XII will move away from the traditional turn-based mechanics seen in every other entry of the series and lean towards action JRPG combat instead. It's also said to be a more mature and darker story compared to other entries as well. So essentially, Dragon Quest XII sounds like it will be the Final Fantasy 16 of their franchise. Now look, I know how that sounds to some of you, as there are a lot of people out there that were not a fan of the direction that Final Fantasy 16 took the series. With that being said, I personally enjoyed Final Fantasy 16 and its darker themes, and as long as we can capture the same essence of Dragon Quest, still with this new action JRPG approach, I'm open to what the team delivers in this next installment. In fact, I'm actually more excited about it, knowing that it will be a darker, more mature story with action JRPG mechanics, as that's all of the things I loved about Final Fantasy 16. As for character designs, thankfully it seems that Akira Toriyama was able to get his work done on the characters before his death, so Dragon Quest XII will feature his work again, and honestly, that might be why the team is taking their time with this project. I mean, with the lead composer and the lead character designer passing away recently, Dragon Quest XII is kind of their final tribute to these guys, and with how impactful both of them were to the series, I imagine that Square Enix and the team developing Dragon Quest XII wants to make sure they deliver a good send-off for both of these guys and what appears to be the last game that they worked on. Number 3, next mainline Tales game. While technically it has not been officially confirmed by Bandai Namco, we all know that the next Tales game is currently in development, and more than likely it'll probably get revealed sometime around the 30th anniversary, which is December of this year. Actually, that makes it a strong candidate to appear at the Game Awards, and with a release date of sometime in late 2026. Until then, Bandai Namco has been on a roll with their current remaster project for the series, in which they plan to remaster as many games as possible. I mean, we've already seen Symphonia and Grace's F over the last year, and Bandai announced last week that the next remaster will be revealed sometime this summer. Rumors and leaks point towards an Exilia or Abyss remaster, but regardless of which one is next, my thoughts are definitely on the next mainline game, which I hope gets announced later this year. Considering that Tales of Arise is my favorite game of the series so far, and the fact that most JRPG franchises are leaning towards mature themes for their next entry, I'm really hoping to see the next mainline Tales game tackle a more tragic and emotional story than we've seen in the past. This is something that the Tales franchise has been missing, and with most iconic franchises leaning towards this direction as well with their next game, maybe Bandai Namco will too. Regardless of what decision they make for the next mainline Tales game, one thing is certain, I'm very excited for this game and I can't wait to see what captivating story the franchise delivers in this next installment of one of my favorite JRPG franchises of all time. Number 2, Final Fantasy VII Part 3. While I really appreciated both Black Myth and Astro Bot, my game of the year last year was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This game is a masterpiece, and as someone that grew up playing the original game, I'm happy to say that I actually prefer Rebirth than that game. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a different story, but Rebirth, fucking amazing. From the beautiful soundtrack to the gorgeous landscapes across Gaia to the insane amount of activities and side quests and just random things that you can do in the game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth kept me busy for at least 3 to 4 months straight. And despite me being relatively familiar with the story of the original game, Rebirth found new and exciting ways to play with the lore while also giving me surprises that completely caught me off guard. Am I normally a fan of the whole multiverse shenanigans? Not really. Do I completely understand people being upset with the inclusion of a multiverse in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Totally. But personally, I feel like they handled it in a satisfying way, and the way they set up the finale of this incredible trilogy has me extremely excited. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact I've been waiting for so long for the next game on today's list that's from a franchise that I'm extremely fond of, then Final Fantasy VII Part 3 would probably be my most anticipated JRPG currently in development. The best part about it is that apparently rumors are suggesting that Square Enix is putting all hands on deck with this game, and that might come out sooner than later. Perhaps as early as 2027 or even 2028. Still, while I'm very much looking forward to this game, I hope that they don't take too much of Nomura's time, because honestly, I'm looking forward to something else from him a lot more that I hope gets done first, which brings me to the next and final entry on today's list. Number 1, Kingdom Hearts 4. If you know anything about me, or the fact that my avatar is a Keyblade wielder version of myself, you probably already guessed from the moment this video started what my most anticipated JRPG is right now. Obviously, I'm extremely hyped about Kingdom Hearts 4, and even talking about it right now has me desperately wanting to get my hands on this game. If you haven't played a game in this series before, just know it's essentially a beautiful, albeit complex story created by Square Enix that combines iconic characters from both Square Enix and Disney. Yeah, Disney of all companies. Somehow though, this collaboration just works, because seeing Final Fantasy characters and other original Square Enix characters interact with my favorite Disney movies is something that I never knew I needed. And Kingdom Hearts 4 looks to take that one step farther, with rumors of it featuring more live action properties like Star Wars and Marvel, on top of them featuring never before seen Disney favorites like Moana and Zootopia. Plus, the themes of Kingdom Hearts 4 seem to explore more mature concepts like the afterlife, which is a step in a new and exciting direction for the franchise. All in all, I'm very excited about this game, and the fact that my top 2 most anticipated JRPGs right now are both from the mind of the famous Tetsuya Nomura just goes to show how truly talented this guy really is. But Nomura, again, get Kingdom Hearts 4 done first, then Final Fantasy VII Part 3, please, I'm begging you. But that does it for this episode of Fantasy Kingdom. Hit up the comments and let me know which upcoming JRPG are you most excited for. Did it make my list? If it didn't, be sure to drop your most anticipated JRPG in the comments down below. Anyway, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content. Also, leave a like on today's video if you enjoyed today's topic. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Fantasy Kingdom. Take care.